And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Welcome, Buccaneers fans, to RBLR Bucs, your go-to podcast for all things Buccaneers related. I'm one of your co-hosts tonight, Musab, and we're counting down the days. Just 44 days left until we're back under those Sunday night lights. Sometimes Monday, I guess, too. But let's be real, the offseason can be a drag, but fear not. Here at RBLR Sports, we are here to keep the action going year-round. So whether it's breaking down the draft picks or analyzing those training camp battles or diving deep into Bucs history, we've got you covered. And hey, while we're waiting for kickoff, you got to show some love to our other Tampa-Bay squads. You know, we got the Rays, the Rowdies, and our sizzling Sun. They're crushing it this summer. And you best believe that June 29th, Saturday, June 29th, at Berry House Beer Company, you can tune in and watch the Rowdies with our RBLR team. And you can check out our social media for all the details with that. Now, maybe you got some weird bad vibes last week since we were, going over the Bucs' worst front office moves. But I got good news for you. Tonight, it's all about good vibes. We do some reflection again, but the positive kind. You feel me? And I'm not alone in this podcast journey. Joining me are my awesome co-hosts. First up, the man who's got the stats and the stories. He's back. What's going on, Zack?
What's going on, brother? Man, I'm upset that I missed the pessimistic episode. I feel like that was my that's my cup of tea, but no, Hazel had surgery, so I had to go deal with that. And I love y'all, but blood family first,
Absolutely, family first, but always happy to hold it down for you as well.
I'm very, very appreciative of you guys for sure.
Hell yeah. And last but certainly not least, we got our football guru and resident analyst. He is Carter Brantley.
How y'all doing, man? I appreciate y'all tuning in. For all of our viewers, we're live, or if you're tuning in on demand, catching it after the live show. We really appreciate y'all. As Mr. Tariq said, we're here to talk about some more Bucs history, but this time the good kind, because everyone loves to talk crap and kind of poo-poo the Bucs because they've had a lot to poo-poo. But we're going to focus on the good vibes. But before we get into all that, Mr. Blaine, since you weren't here last week, what's your least favorite? Can't say Graham Barton. That's off limits. It's too early. But other than Graham Barton, what's been your least favorite Bucs front office move in the history of this Bucs franchise?
So I'm not going to go history of the franchise. I'm going to go history of since I've started watching.
Fair enough.
And I think that it's got to be a tie between. Well, no, Roberto Aguayo. That's my worst one. It has to be. And I think our lack of bringing in outside free agents is something that annoys me a little bit because we're big on just re-signing our guys. So the lack of bringing in outside free agents overall, and then just our front office alone would be the Roberto Aguayo pick.
All right, for sure. Yeah, I mean the Aguayo pick's a pretty slam dunk easy one. I think that's pretty much what everyone would say, and it's logical. It makes the most sense. But I had to let you get your little sneak diss in there. I had to get your little not like us in there, whatever.
It felt good. It felt good. I needed that, man.
For sure. I had to get it off your chest. I feel you. But I guess we'll have to continue this negative vibes fest, unfortunately, for the first half of the episode at least. But there's a CBS report that came out that Todd Bowles is in the hot seat. Slow news day, I mean, good gracious, there's just nothing going on in football right now. So they had to bring something up, and why would Bowles be on the hot seat? He just came off a great season. Hey, that's a great question. I don't have a good answer for you, my man. If y'all have any ideas then other than the CBS article, then great. I don't see it. I don't think he gets fired this season unless something really catastrophic happens. But I would love to hear y'all's takes in the comments as well as our co-hosts. But we'll start with Mr. Tariq. What do you think has to happen for Bowles to maybe get fired after just this season?
I mean, just to just do a really poor job. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I mean, you got to really screw things up.
For sure.
I'll tell you this. I guess, and I'm the culprit myself. I'm sure maybe I've mentioned like, oh, at times this past season or these last 2 seasons, what the hell is Todd Bowles doing? Blah blah blah. But I mean, in the end, result shows that. I mean, I think he's got it, and I think if anything, I'm seeing just improvements more than anything. But I feel like this year, at least this offseason, we've really done some really big moves. I mean, we've kept our star guys. We have kind of established Baker as our QB1 for the next couple of years or so. So and we got a new offensive coordinator. So I mean, there's some kind of trial and error, some time for that as well. I'll tell you this, these little news, what do you call sources like CBS and ESPN, they just got a bunch of extra interns, I guess, maybe this summer that are just, looking to do some kind of work, and they'll just come up with some random mumbo jumbo like this.
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. I love that. Oh man, yeah, no, I'm with you. It's just kind of nonsense. I guess if I had to follow up, what would you think would be like a record that would be bad enough for the Bucs to finish for Bowles to get fired? Just right back at you. What would be a record maybe that the Bucs would have to meet for you, Mr. Tariq? Whoa, like 3-14, 2-15. I don't know. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I'd probably say like a 3-14 is probably right there. Yeah.
I think if they have 5 wins or less, or 5 wins or fewer, I never know the grammatical correct way to say that, but yeah, I think 5 wins is like, all right, maybe he'll get.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I just have a lot of confidence that that's not going to happen.
Oh, for sure. Me too.
Yeah. So for that reason, and if it does, it does. Then it's time to just.
Yeah, time to move on, maybe. Mr. Blaine, how about you though? Maybe you've been a more vocal Todd Bowles hater than I think the rest of us. So maybe you have a higher threshold. Like maybe if they miss the playoffs, maybe he's gone.
That's my. If we don't win the division, I think he's gone.
Really? Wow.
I think that we play in the NFC South.
Sure.
And that gives everyone talks about, oh, we've made it to the playoffs. We've won the division 3 years in a row. It's not like we're playing in a good division. Like at this point, if you lose the division, you're up for a top 10 pick almost. So I'm not as impressed with winning the division 3 times in a row, especially when 2 of those years he had Brady. Well, he's only been the coach. Last year was his first year as head coach, but whatever. Like, no, wasn't it?
Last year was his second year.
Second year, yeah. So
yeah,
he had his first year, he had Tom Brady. Second year, he had Baker. So it's like I look at it and I'm like,
being carried by legends, being carried by Hall of Fame corner.
I'm not saying Baker's a legend. That wasn't the point I was making out there.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
But it just feels like he's got this. He's known as a defensive coach, and our offense has been what kind of kept us in it last year. As crazy as that sounds in Tampa, our offense is what sort of kept us in the division last year. Our defense was not good. And for him to be a defensive guy, I think for him to get fired this year, the defense would have to take another step back because we already took a step back last year. Now we take another step back this year. We don't win the division. I think there's a legitimate gripe to have him fired.
Wow. Okay. You heard it here first. If the Bucs don't win the division, Zack Blaine thinks that Todd Bowles is gone.
I'm saying he should be. I'm not saying he will.
Fair enough.
He has this weird obsession with keeping coaches too long, so wouldn't be shocked to see him next year. But I was calling for him to be fired last year. So
yeah, it's tough to fire a division-winning coach, but yeah, if they do miss the playoffs, that is going to be a lot of internal kind of reflection, looking around a little bit, kind of. Man, we lost. Our team lost out to the Falcons. The front office is going to have to really do some inner meditation and stuff, like all of that stuff, just figuring some stuff out for sure. So I thought that was something to just kind of talk about because it was kind of clickbaity, but hey, we're in the end of June and the early July. We're really scratching for stuff here in regards to football news. So I figured that was something worthy of bringing up. Another kind of fun little newsy thing, or newsy, good gracious, but
I like that word. No, don't even. That's a good word.
Okay, fair enough. Some more mumbo jumbo is Musab.
There we go.
I'm going to continue to use that throughout.
Newsy woozy wumbo jumbo. Here we go.
Right, absolutely. So Pro Football Focus (PFF) they released a fun little ranking of the receiving cores that each team has. And given the Bucs receiving group has been pretty consistently ranked relatively high. They've got Evans and Godwin for a while. There was a year there where they had Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski. So that was them near the top. But this year they were ranked 11th by Pro Football Focus. What are y'all's thoughts? Too low, too high, just about right? Kind of the Goldilocks thing. Zack, I'll throw it right back at you, man. What were your thoughts on this ranking for their receiving group?
No, I think that's just about right. With all due respect to Mike Evans, because Mike Evans is one of the best receivers in the league, I don't think that Chris Godwin and Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer are necessarily the best 2, 3, 4, and 5 receivers, if that makes sense. So
for sure,
I don't think we're at the bottom of the league. So I'm happy with 11. Puts us right in the middle. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think 11 was just right as well. There's not really no protest here. They're pretty top heavy. Evans is really good. Godwin's pretty solid too, but does get a little suspect after that. So 11th is pretty solid. But Mr. Treek, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think they should be higher, or maybe you're kind of boring like me and Zach and just like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine with me. Obviously, I would probably be a lot more concerned if they were like in the bottom, or if they were the top, I would be like, that's cool, but I don't know if that's true.
Right.
But no, I'm fine with 11th, but I do have to say I do disagree with Zach's statement in regards to the 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You got to give Chris Godwin some respect, man.
For sure.
And I'll tell you this, the way I see it is like, we'll say, Mike Evans is a 95%, and we'll say Chris Godwin is a 90. You know what I'm saying? So, when you average it out, I guess it goes a little down technically, but that's not
Godwin is a 90.
No, that's just an example. What I'm just trying to say is Mike Evans is definitely better. But
Mike Evans is one of the best receivers in the league. Okay. I'm not arguing that.
You know what? Maybe I didn't say it correctly. What I mean to say is I don't think Godwin is bringing this rank down. If we start at the top because of Mike Evans and then we put all of our other guys, I don't think it's Chris Godwin bringing us down. It's all the other guys, the Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan and
I get what
Trey Palmer. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down, but I also feel like Godwin is not a top 10 number 2 receiver in my opinion.
Oh, I gotta disagree on that one. I think he is a very solidified top 10 because you think about it like if you want to say like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle potentially. After that it gets a little thin. I don't think there are too many number 2 options that are really way better than Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I'd have to go through and lay out all the numbers, but not all the numbers. I'm not going to look like deep at it, but just my preference. I don't think Godwin is as good as Bucs fans are wanting him to be.
Well, Zach, the thing is, you have to think about this rating is also based on the other guys, the other.
No, I agree. After Godwin, we're
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I think we're 11, just because these guys, it could be really good or it could be ugly with the rest of the guys. But yeah,
it's just tough. I don't really see like. I think Chris Godwin's better than Christian Kirk from the Jaguars, who's technically their number 2 wide receiver. Like if we want to go through,
is he number 1 now? Because Calvin Ridley left, didn't he?
Well, I guess like him and Brian Thomas and I can't even remember. We're diving really deep into this, but I don't know. I think Chris Godwin's like maybe even a top 5 second option in regards to
out of your respect.
I'm in between the 5 to 10, but no, definitely in the 10.
Yeah, because like
definitely
so then Daniel's up there. Like I can think of 3 off the top of my head that no doubt like Chris Godwin's not better than them, but man, it gets kind of thin after that. There just aren't like a lot of teams that have like 2 wide receivers that are just balls to the wall, dominant, like really, really freaking good. So yeah, as far as number 2 options go, I don't know. Chris Godwin's pretty good. Our challenge for next week, Mr. Blaine, name us 5 number 2 options that are better than Chris Godwin. That's
RBLR homework. Okay.
That's going to be our RBLR homework.
And we got
You're
RBLR.
go on Twitter tonight. Okay. Oh man, we got to stretch this content out. Come on now, you got to wait till the show to do the big reveal.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll wait till the show. I'll put it in our messages later tonight, but I'll wait till the show to make it public.
Sweet, for sure. Drop it in the cord, as they say. But if you're looking for a really, really great number one option for your wardrobe, not the Zack Blaine's interpretation of Chris Godwin, but everyone's interpretation of Mike Evans. If you're looking for that Mike Evans of wardrobe options, it's definitely the RBLR shop. Definitely head to shop.rblrsports.com. Check out the gear that we've got. We've got some really cool stuff on there. Bring back the devil. Like Musab said, we've got a Rowdies watch show coming up, and the Rowdies are full swing of things. The Lightning season just ended, so definitely pick up some off-season merch there as well, and of course some Bucs gear as well. And the Rays are playing right now, so definitely a lot of stuff to figure out there. And we'll give you a promo code. That's Cannon, CANNONS. Type that bad boy in and get 10% off your entire order. All right, so we're moving to before we move to the second half of our show. I still can't get it, man. The Chris Godwin disrespect, I can't get over it, man. Zach,
Yeah. I still remember you said you had Godwin's under 800.
Right.
I still think about that day.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I feel you. Like Chris Godwin definitely can be a mixed bag sometimes, but I don't know. As far as number two receivers, he's definitely up there, in my opinion. But that's just me, though. That's just me. We'll get into some positive stuff instead of letting Zach, tarnish Chris Godwin's good name and NFL receiving standards. But we're going to move to the best front office moves draft. We're each going to take turns picking our favorite front office moves in the history of the Bucs franchise. And I'll kick things off. I'll go first overall pick. Fittingly, I'm going with Leroy Salmon. It's kind of a slam dunk. I know it's kind of an easy one, boring, like, oh yeah, Leroy Salmon. But I take the Salmon Expressway so much, and it's named after him. He was an AD at USF, and also he's a Hall of Fame football player. He's ridiculous. He was insane. He was so freaking good out of Oklahoma, and without him, who knows what the Bucs would be as far as teams. They really were known for their defense early on, and it kind of carried them into that Tony Dungy era. So who knows? Maybe the Bucs history is a lot different if they don't pick Leroy Salmon. So that's my first overall pick. Mr. Tariq, what's your second overall pick in this first round for the good front office moves?
Ooh, second overall pick. I'm gonna have to go Derek Brooks. I'm going Derek Brooks just because. When I first moved to Florida at that time, that's when they had just won the Super Bowl, or actually a couple of years after is when I came down here. But I didn't know much about the Buccaneers, but I just remember I heard Derek Brooks' name all the time. And it just, I don't know, it always rang a bell. So, and then I started watching the Bucs in 2009, the Josh Freeman days. My teacher went to Kansas State and was a huge Josh. Anyways, so she kind of put me on the Bucs or put me on Josh Freeman, which I don't know. Anyways, so I don't know. I guess it's just like the the iconic. You look back and you think, what players has had the biggest impact on the organization. I feel like we've kind of discussed this before. I know Carter, you mentioned that there's a school named after him, Brooks DeBartolo. Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, like Hall of Fame career. When he was playing, he was the backbone. Racked up a Super Bowl victory, and I don't know. I mean, just overall amazing linebacker. So I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't just kind of a good decision, just in terms of just himself, but just for the whole organization. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you think of the creamsicle Bucs, and I think Leroy Salmon is kind of that era. Yeah. But then you think of the pewter, and it's Derek Brooks. That's kind of the big name. So it's really interesting how the eras of Bucs football have kind of progressed, and I think Derek Brooks is certainly an anchor. He's certainly like an establishing player in that regard. So yeah, Derek Brooks. He's great second overall pick in the first round. Mr. Blaine, going number 3. Who
let's jump right into the next era then. Definitely drafting Chris Godwin.
Oh, whoa.
I'm kidding. Drafting Mike Evans. I don't care if he was the first pick, 42nd pick, 137th pick. It doesn't matter. He has been a stalwart on this Tampa Bay offense since he's been here. Never a doubt that he was going to be wide receiver 1. Never a doubt that he was leaving. up until this year a little bit, maybe a little pucker factor there.
Tiny.
But 100%. I mean, I think he kind of set the pace for this offense, and without him, I don't think we'd be where we are today, talking about winning 3 NFC South championships in a row, even if it is the NFC South. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah, no doubt about it. Evans is definitely kind of a pillar. He's kind of that third pillar in regards to Bucs history. So yeah, that's definitely a great pick. Zach, we'll do snake. So what you just bang, back to back. Who's the first pick of the second round? So
all right, well, so I went with the Baker Mayfield signing. Shocker, Zack going with the Baker Mayfield situation. Realistically, I went with it because he had to fill in after Tom Brady. One of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. He had to step in and fill what felt like impossible shoes to fill, and he did a pretty damn good job of it. Everyone else kind of had given up on him, was like, Baker's not going to do anything, like he's irrelevant now. And we look at it like now he's our franchise quarterback for at least the next 2 years. So everyone gave up on him, and he kind of came in and proved everyone wrong. And I like that. So I think the balls to bring in Baker Mayfield is my second one.
All right, fair enough. That's the balls to pick Baker Mayfield is an all-time front office decision.
All right, man. Y'all make it seem like, all right, now we're good. We're good.
we gotta do it. If you're with Zach, maybe drop it in the comments if you think that Baker Mayfield's greatest Bucs front office decision ever. But Mr. Tariq, what's the second overall or the second pick of your draft, whatever you want to call it? Who's your guy for the second round?
I mean, I'm just gonna piggyback off of Zach with Mike Evans. For me, I think Mike Evans is like the one, is kind of like my person that I've just seen since the start. Since he got drafted, I remember I didn't know who he was when he got drafted, but I did know that he played with Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. So I was like, okay, this guy might be good, I guess, because Johnny Manziel was super hyped. But anyways, I'm going Mike Evans. I mean, Zach already said this guy, just when he thought he was going to slow down, he didn't. He's been super reliable every single year since he's joined us. I mean, he's just balled out. So, I honestly, I can't imagine where the Buccaneers would be if we got someone else.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, the good news is I think the Bucs, a great front office decision by the Bucs. You mentioned Johnny Manziel, not picking Johnny Manziel. That might be a great, Bucs front office decision to write down.
Listen, if he didn't play in Cleveland, he may have made something of himself. So let's not. He was real great in the player or fan controlled football.
For sure, man. Oh, he was balling out.
I have to say, I think Johnny Manziel walks so Baker Mayfield could fly.
That's fine. Yeah. Really, cocky, kind of arrogant, undersized quarterbacks. They're Zach's jam. And absolutely, Johnny.
I was never a Manziel fan. I gotta throw it out there. It was never a Manziel fan.
Word, for sure. Anyways, moving on. My second round pick is going to be the Doug Williams pick. They drafted him and made him their franchise quarterback for a little bit. Unfortunately, ownership got in the way of him sticking around and being a Buck for life. It's a really depressing story to read about when you look back. But fortunately, he was able to continue his incredibly successful career, won a Super Bowl. Amazing for him. But while he was with the Bucs made it to the playoffs, and back then that was a huge deal. Doug Williams being picked by the Bucs was just phenomenal for the franchise. He's my second round pick because, man, it's Doug Williams. Allen Iverson was seen courtside wearing a creamsicle Doug Williams jersey. Like, you can't tell the history of the Bucs without him. So, he's my second round pick, and I'll jump right into the third round as well. I'll go with Rondé Barber, the Rondé Barber pick from the Bucs. He was, him and Derek, like Derek Brooks is the first guy you think of with that Super Bowl team, but man, I think Rondé Barber might be the second one. He's well on his way to the Hall of Fame as well. He's just, he's freaking Rondé Barber. Like, I had those bookmarks that the Bucs gave out to the community, and Rondé Barber was on there along with I think Barrett Ruud. I don't know if y'all remember him. He was a line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was Barber and Barrett Ruud were the two ones, and I got Rondé Barber. Fortunately, no disrespect to Barrett Root or anything, but yeah, Rondé Barber, my final pick for this draft. And Mr. Tariq, we'll go right back to you. Who's your final third round pick for this good office move draft?
Yeah, best front office move. Draft or free agent. I got to go with Tom Brady. I just felt like getting Tom Brady and then have him win the Super Bowl in the first year. I mean, this is a guy who's racked up like 20 seasons or so with the Patriots. He is the GOAT. I mean, the name speaks for itself, and he comes in our city, helps us win a championship. I don't know. For me, those are kind of like my three people. Specifically, I want to say Mike Evans and Tom Brady because I witnessed that, and those are kind of my three things. When I look back, I'm like, damn, if I have to think about the three greatest moments or the three greatest things, I'll probably say, yeah, Derek Brooks, Mike Evans being on our team, and then when Tom Brady joined us, because, yeah, it was, I don't know. It was iconic because I went up to Boston as well and, telling people that, oh, like, Tom and I switched places. I didn't actually tell anyone that, but
well, do you think
there's a bunch of angry Boston townies like, why the hell did you move up here?
Well, I don't know. I think Boston got the better end of that deal. Tom Brady for Musab Tariq. I mean, that's I'm surprised.
I mean, that's Boston's best front office move.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised Tampa didn't have to throw in like a first round pick, or that Boston didn't have to throw in a first round pick, honestly. But yeah, that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But Zach, who's your last pick of this good front office move? Sure.
Well, as we're doing this, I realize that I picked all like these newer things, so I feel kind of crappy about that. But I think bringing in Bruce Arians, getting him out of retirement and bringing him in, I think Bruce Arians was a big part of bringing Brady to Tampa. I don't think we'd have a Super Bowl in the last 10 years without Arians. So I think having the front office go out and do something that, he was retired. I didn't think he was ever going to coach again. And to have him come and perform the way that he did, or I say perform, coach the way that he did for us, and run the front office kind of the way that he did, or have the influence on the front office to bring in some of those veteran guys. I think he made a big impact. Even now that he's not on the field, he's still this is his coaching tree, coaching Tampa right now. So I think that it's played a big role that's gone deeper than just the 3 years he coached for us.
And not even that. I mean, sorry. Go ahead, Carter. Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, if you really think about it, I think, I want to give him a shout out just for being able to, it doesn't matter who what quarterback you're working with, being able to work with Tom Brady in the first year, win a championship, that's big. You know what I'm saying? As much as we want to give credit to, all the players and Tom Brady and everything, and you obviously want to, give credit to the coach, it is not easy, especially when you're working with Tom Brady and, you're trying to fix up this team and everything. So, because, I mean, him and Bill Belichick, obviously they worked for many, many years. So it was kind of like, obviously it worked. So that was an interesting kind of, experiment to see how someone like Bruce Arians coming out of retirement is going to work with the GOAT. So, hell yeah. I didn't think about that before.
And in our defense, I mean, Zach, you said, I feel bad that our picks are skewing modern, but this is probably the most successful run that the Bucs franchise has experienced. So, unfortunately, for the past,
a lot of the positives are going to be right now.
Yeah. So a lot of it's going to skew to the modern era. And like you said, Zach, without Bruce Arians, they don't bring in Tom Brady. I mean, it's just a huge chain reaction that leads to the Bucs winning the Super Bowl. So it's fantastic, really cool stuff. And like you said, without, Bruce Arians just kind of started his own little tree of influence, if you will, since it's kind of not only the coaching staff, but the front office too. Definitely hiring Bruce Arians. Some honorable mentions that I wanted to include because, they're really cool as well. When they traded for Rob Gronkowski, he had such an amazing impact in the Super Bowl. Obviously, he was just fantastic. Him and Brady had that connection, that chemistry, whatever you want to call it. Also, Levante David getting picked. I mean, he was a second-round pick out of Nebraska, and if not for Derek Brooks, he would be the best linebacker in franchise history. So I wanted to shout him out. And last but certainly not least, another kind of high-impact signing. I'm not going to compare it to the Tom Brady signing. I'm not doing that. Please don't yell at me. But Simeon Rice, I mean, he was one of the.
How dare you compare that to Tom Brady?
Well, I mean, hey, without Simeon Rice, the Bucs don't win that first Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Point blank. Not really doubting that. Because he was an amazing pass rusher, and that Bucs defense was all about the secondary, and they had an amazing linebacker core as well. Obviously, Warren Sapp, but Simeon Rice really would kind of put it all together, and he was the elite pass rush that they needed off the edge. That's kind of some honorable mentions.
I'd like to throw an honorable mention in there as well, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
It's not a massive one, and that's why I didn't pick it as one of mine. But I think that he played a big role in winning the Super Bowl, this last Super Bowl. Leonard Fournette taking that kind of shot on him.
Ooh.
Like, don't get me wrong, he was not. He was not like a 5-year great player for us, but
no, for sure.
His name is Playoff Lenny because of what he went on with Tampa. So I feel like taking that shot on him, and he wasn't a very expensive running back at the time, like taking that shot on him and him working out for us really those first 2 years, I'd say. I think that's something that should get a little bit of credit too, because he did come in and perform really well for us in the playoffs.
No doubt about it. Yeah. I mean, you could really point to a lot of different moves.
That was
kind of the cherry on top.
That was like a very euphoric. Now that I think about it, like a really euphoric year. Honestly, you look back, it kind of feels like a dream. You know what I'm saying?
Just having you're like, man,
all these guys just came and go. Gronkowski, Brady, they just came by to say hello. The championship.
There was I think we have
Gronkowski coming back. Yeah, Gronkowski, not coming back, but coming back out of retirement and joining the Bucs. That was like when your mom says you can go out for ice cream.
Got an extra 30 minutes to play outside.
No. This is like when you go out for ice cream, aka like your mom's like, okay, let's go out for ice cream, aka you got Brady, and then when you get there, she's like, oh yeah, you can get like unlimited toppings, and then you're just going absolutely berserk.
So that means in this story that Bruce Arians is your mom, because he's the one that made it all possible.
I guess so. And then Captain Fears drove me over there in his pirate ship.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, how about we'll say Bruce Arians is our collective mom. He's kind of
what? I'm okay with that.
He's everyone's mom. Yeah, that's right. I think Zack and I share the resemblance a little more than Mr. Tariq, but
a little bit
for sure. We're definitely as rosy as Bruce Arians.
Yeah,
I'm sure if
we're like half brothers right now.
Yeah, we get worked up, then I'm sure we turn into mini Bruce Arians. But anyways, yeah. after Mr. Blaine calling Bruce Arians our mother, we'll call tonight. We really appreciate y'all tuning in.
Not a better way to end it on.
For sure. Heck of a way to end the show. But we really appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you enjoyed what you hear, if you enjoyed what you heard and you want more live content like this through in the future, definitely hit that subscribe button or like or follow wherever you're tuning in. You can also give us that follow at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. And discover all of our other content across the channel. We've got some really great stuff coming out constantly all the time. If you're looking for Tampa Bay sports content, this is the place to be. So we really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate my co-host for letting us do our thing, and our producer as well. But as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.